1 year ago, the NASA Basalt team traversed Hawaii's active volcano, using it as a testing ground simulating a future expedition to Mars. This past week, the team wrapped up their second trip to Hawaii Volcanoes National Park. Operations were again based out of Kilauea Military Camp.
Doing real science under the best simulation capabilities we can.
We spoke with Steve Chappell, the exploration lead for Basalt.
Well, what we're doing here is real science and lava terrains. First of all, Basalt is a NASA project. It stands for Biologic Analog Science associated with lava terrains. And there's two goals of the project. One is to do the real science associated with the lava terrains that are present here within Hawaii Volcanoes National Park, and understand how the lava formed, and also what type of biological elements might be living in them and under different circumstances. Anywhere from really hot fumaroles that are greater than 80 degrees C, all the way down to really cold rock that was only altered many years ago. So they're doing the real science in a way that actually is how we would do it on Mars, and we're supplementing the real science with putting together a mission control center here that simulates the delays that it takes to send transmissions from Earth to Mars and from Mars to Earth. For instance, if I was talking to you now, and Mars wouldn't hear that communication, my voice, reach them until about 20 minutes later. So the question is how to incorporate an Earth-based science team to help guide the activities that are going on Mars without having to stand around and wait 20 minutes to have a conversation. We call this sort of iterative development. So we go out, we get some ideas, we develop some prototype technologies, we go out and test them in the field in terms of how they help with this interaction between Earth and Mars.
It's a facility that's really good for us because we can set up here.
The geology co-lead for the Basalt project was volcanologist Scott Hughes.
The last couple of years we've been doing these field deployments, one in Idaho and two in Hawaii, and where these deployments are designed to simulate Mars missions. We would like to see on Mars maybe the effects or the evidence that there were some steaming cracks, aka fumaroles, at one time in the past. And the reason we're studying fumaroles, not so much because we think that they are the only things to look at, but they're one of the things that we should be looking at because of the possibility that fumaroles provided energy source and moisture and so forth for the generation of life.
By reviving the National Space Council, President Donald Trump has declared to all of the world, America will lead in space once again.
Vice President Mike Pence recently affirmed the administration's commitment to a future mission to Mars.
The objectives of the National Space Council are clear. The President has charged us with laying the foundation for America to maintain a constant commercial human presence in low Earth orbit. From there, we will turn our attention back toward our celestial neighbors. We will return American astronauts to the moon, not only to leave behind footprints and flags, but to build the foundation we need to send Americans to Mars and beyond.
So we just recently heard, I believe, from the Vice President that they're working on, I believe, a 40-day plan to determine what that new path is based upon what the new administration would like to see from a space program. Mars is still the long-term goal for humans, to put probably an international team of explorers on Mars. The latest estimates have been saying in the 2030s, or maybe early, about 2040 is about the earliest that we could actually do that. But there are a number of significant technologies that need to be developed and put in place and tested before that time. And the amount of money that it's going to take to do that is also something that has to build up over time, and multiple countries will likely have to contribute to.
We're developing as human beings, and at some point in time we'll end up going beyond the Earth to other places, and we're just now beginning to do that, and we have to learn the best ways to go about it. And what we need to do is not only answer some questions about how we should be going about it, but we need to find out what questions we need to ask. And so there are a lot of questions that we haven't asked that we don't know what those questions are yet. Any kind of program like this, like the space program, has provided so much in terms of development and inventions human involvement, and it gets to be exciting. So, not to mention the number of jobs that this sort of business could create eventually.